So hello, Ron Monon. I went to my review of Juuni Taisen episode 5. So I found it a pretty good episode. I think it was better than last week, but it wasn't as good as the first 3 episodes. I think that it kind of had a similar issue to the monkeys, where the flashback was not like the flashback was better. It was definitely better than last week, but it wasn't on that level that we had I would say especially Borscht, like Borscht, probably the most actually, episode 1. But also I think the chicken was better than both of them as well. So I mean, Monkey was just kind of nothing in my opinion, because you saw her. Okay, she's a pacifist. We're gonna get her personality a bit, of course, but the actual storyline itself didn't amount to much, except that she stops a war and then for one day later it starts again, and her life is meaningless, whatever. This has had a little more story here. I've seen one earlier and so on, but I think that the flashback wasn't very good presented. I think in one sense there, because it was kind of clear to me at least what he wished for. I mean, his wish was I want to see my grandson smile again. So did he do it to that felt so kind of unclear, because he survived the space. Apparently, when he was the last time they were in some kind of space station, right? He blew it up, he won, and when we saw the thing, right, he was kind of oh yeah, I want to see my grandson smile. So did that mean I resurrected his grandson, or was it oh, I'm gonna die myself here in space? I feel like he should be able to escape because in an escape pod, or was it my grandson? Is in some kind of terminal illness. That wasn't really clear to me. Maybe it was some translations, but I mean, I'm not fluent in Japanese, but I'm pretty good in Japanese. I didn't really feel it. They didn't cover it. They just kind of told it over kind of quickly there. So yeah, that I did not like that at all, because I felt like I was watching it, and during watching it, I was like, why did they win? How did they win? What did they wish for? If it's kind of weird, you can go there. For example, that Boar's father won earlier. So why? I mean, yes, they had a mansion and so on. But wouldn't he wish for something world domination? Her father would be kind of douchebag guy, right? And like a warrior kind of evil warlord kind of guy. Wouldn't you wish for I want to rule the planet something? The king was anything they want, right? Kind of magical tech stuff. So it feels weird to me that they will go back. Yeah, kind of right. But anyway, so I think that's a little weird with him. Obviously, his wish was, I want to see my grandson smile, but I didn't find it very clear that why that wish was needed. Not saying that you don't want to see your grandson smile, I just mean that it's you were in the escape pod, you seem to be out of danger, so couldn't just land and be fine, or it would make much more sense if it was my grandson was terminal ill, so I joined the tournament 40 years ago and I won, and I saved his life, or 20 years ago, or whatever. Whatever. That would make a lot more sense. I would say. Or I wish to have a grandson, in that case, or a daughter or son, or whatever. So I think that was a little weird. But anyway, so his flashback otherwise, I think it was a little more boring. Yeah, Chicken had way more battle and so. I think that's a problem with the flashback as well. He did some cool bombs and so on, right? But compared to Chicken felt much more cool. She was like, my birds will kill you now! And she crying. Yeah, I think her backstory action was more interactive, right? And more fun. And Bo's backstory was more evil and I murdered my sister. There was fire. That was more the kind of menacing thing, right? Kind of dark, morbid kind of comedy and so on. So I think that this family was better, right, than Monkeys. They had no action at all, or just talking, and it wasn't very intelligent. She was well, if you don't do it, I make them all die or something. Yeah, it was kind of whatever in her power there, right? So it's a little better, but I think it had similar to the monkey thing, where it didn't feel like the actual the context, I guess the non-contextual kind of backstory part for him, where he's he's fighting these guys here in the woods and so on. That weren't that interesting in my opinion. It was okay, but yeah, but I was thinking oh god, it's bad. It's more 6 out of 10. I think that's still a little disappointing for me. Maybe it's a negative, but I think that episode 1 to 3, especially 1 and 3, was much better, I think, than 4 and 5. And obviously this is 4 and 5 in a row here, so you're starting to feel a little disappointed, in my opinion, if I comment later here. Because I still like the anime, but I do feel the anime for me, episode 1 to 3 was yeah, this is freaking 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 anime. No, I'm 8 out of 10, yeah. So I think my motivation for the anime is kind of going down as it's going right now, unfortunately. But anyway, so the other part then, which I didn't get at all, is that Horse is alive. I mean, that's fine and so. I mean, he can be alive. But what I don't get is why Ox was covered in blood. Because obviously, we see Horse destroying the wall and escape, but he's like kind of crying afterwards, like shamefully escaping, right? Makes so much sense. Ox seems to be definitely the strongest person. He escapes that, and then we see Ox later on. He's not in the blood, right? But they meet chicken in his blood. And then that's a comment, people like, oh, maybe he killed someone else. That is the best possibility. I think you're right on that. Ox might have killed someone in between fighting Horse and go to chicken, but then I don't know who that would be. That would be maybe like a dragon, potentially. Because all the characters I think has been counted for, because you see Tiger in the end, right? So that's a little weird. I point that out because that didn't make much sense to me. But anyway, Horse is alive, and I think this episode will be about him. So yeah, he didn't die, and then he gets a flashback and probably dies. but yes, that's kind of out. So then in course, when it's all the time, we have monkey and rat, versus like I guess crows and rabbit and the snake, right? Yeah, snake with no head. That fight, Snake versus Raph, was like, whatever, he has no... I like the part when he was like, how can he see you hear me? He can't. So yeah, that was good. But I kind of liked it, and I kind of did not like it, the whole monkey versus crow. It was kind of cool. She's to train up in Tibet or something, right? Learning some really ancient martial arts. It's like, crow, yeah. So it was kind of cool that she's like very calm, like punching crow. It felt kind of cool, but at the same time, it had like this huge feel to it, because it's like standing there, and it's speaking like, want to join my team, Mr. Rabbit-kun? Yeah, and then like 5 minutes later, episode, it's like, are you sure you want to join my team? It's like he's doing the exact same thing, right? Pretty much the exact same animation. It's like, and then he goes in there, and he's like, you're still not sure? So it's the exact same thing 3 times in the episode. And when it was pretty cool, it seemed like, man, this definitely is kind of feeling it out now. You just keep showing this scene here, and nothing is happening. She just keeps like, deflecting the crows, and here's like 1,000 crows appearances. So like whatever, it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah. So that was like, nah. And then of course we have the old man. The old man part, I find a little weird. He didn't know anything. Yeah, I liked his plan. It was like, oh, I'm gonna join this team, and I'm gonna make this person join me. And I can like replace the poison out of their body, so I can barely get the poison without killing them. That's good. But the weird thing that, so like right now is that why did he not eat poison then? Because he was like, I didn't eat the poison, I hide it away with my powers. And I was like, but I also can remove the poison. Wouldn't he just like eat it and then remove it? Then I would have to cheat even. I should have said now, I was like, wait a minute, why didn't he just eat it then if he can remove it out of his own body with no problem? Anyway, so that felt a little weird though, how little sense he had of the actual battle. He was like, oh, I'm gonna meet Boar and I'm gonna make a peace with her. It's like, they're all dead, man. Yeah, like, that was a little weird. And he's just like, doing this whole waiting, and he seems to think everyone's alive, right? And I'm not saying that, he doesn't have the impression we as a viewer has, who actually knows most things happening around it. But it's kind of like, why is he assuming that everyone is alive and is doing the waiting? It's like, oh yeah, she can do this thing, and she can play, she's weak. I was like, I don't know, man. But I love the moment though when he was like, he's waiting. But then I just put my bomb. Like, I put my freaking bomb on top of it. That solves everything. Big bomb. Okay, fine, let's go with that. That was great. Like, I have this huge bomb that kills everything. I'm carrying a nuke if the numbers becomes bad for me. That was great. And of course then, in the end, right, he meets Tiger. And it's like, man, he's gonna lose to Tiger. Like, if you go around in it's kind of like horror thing, right? And you go around and you're like, the Tiger chick, she seems to be so weak. Tiger, so weak. And then it's like, there she is. It's like, yeah, she's gonna kill you. Because you're like, you can never beat this Tiger girl. Yeah, like, obviously she's gonna kill you, right? I think that's very, very obvious. And I even felt it early before too, because I think that was kind of hinted at episode 2 that she was after Sheep. So she's like, I can hear you, old man. So I guess she's gonna fight, and she very likely will win, right? She has like no experience, but she's super young, so youth versus age, right? And I think that one theory I have from that is that we see him, of course, doing a tournament earlier, and as Boar, for example, is in it, right? So her father was in it earlier, so it could very well be that her parent or something like that, sister, whatever, could have been in the previous one that he killed, right? So she could be asked some revenge, right? I think that's a very, very, very high possibility that Tiger's out for blood there, since she lost someone to him in the previous years. I think that makes sense immediately. That's probably gonna happen. Probably gonna explain that in her flashback. I think that's very, very much hinted to that. So anyway, lastly then, we also see this betting thing. And I actually, honestly, I haven't mentioned that because for me, I think it was kind of obvious. I don't know. I was at the first meeting, I was like, oh yeah, the betting thing. And I just kind of assumed that was that thing. I just kind of assumed that it was like Dead Man Wonderland, I think right away on similar stuff like that, where, yeah, it has bet royale thing, of course you're gonna bet money on it, and it's like a kind of proxy war, where it's like, oh, I bet my country here on this person winning or something. I don't know what to say about that, it just felt like, yeah, I don't know, it just felt kind of fluffy, surrounding thing. I don't know if it has any effect really on the actual story, but I feel like it has. Unless, like, I could guess though that Monkey did, if she's the winner, that she wants to kill all these people up there, or you know, want to stop the whole, yeah, betting thing and, like, you know, betting people's life because they bet like land and so on, right? So like, I can see it coming back to like Monkey, Rat, maybe even Sheep because doing it again. Someone might be able up the Tiger, who knows? Yeah, like wanting to destroy that thing. So that could be why they're showing the thing, because someone is primarily Monkey is trying to kill them all, or they destroy the whole foundation right of that system. So that is probably it. But otherwise I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Anyway, see you guys next week and have a great day.